It's October the 10th, 2020, and welcome back to our weekend lessons in Matthew, and we're in chapter 23. Then Jesus said to the crowds and to his disciples, "The teachers of the law and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. So you must obey them and do everything they tell you, but do not do what they do, for they do not practice what they preach. They tie up heavy loads and put them on men's shoulders, but they themselves are not willing to lift a finger to move them. Everything they do is done for men to see. They make their phylacteries wide and the tassels on their garments long. They love the place of honor at banquets and the most important seats in the synagogues. They love to be greeted in the marketplaces and to have men call them rabbi. But you are not to be called rabbi, for you have only one master, and you are all brothers. Do not call anyone on earth father, for you have one Father, and he is in heaven. Nor are you to be called teacher, for you have one teacher, the Christ. The greatest among you will be your servant. For whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and whoever humbles himself will be exalted. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You shut the kingdom of heaven to men's faces. You yourselves do not enter, nor will you let those enter who are trying to. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You travel over land and sea to win a single convert, and when he becomes one, you make him twice as much a son of hell as you are. Woe to you, blind guides! You say, if anyone swears by the temple, it means nothing. But if anyone swears by the gold of the temple, he is bound by his oath. You blind fools! Which is greater, the gold or the temple that makes the gold sacred? You also say, if anyone swears by the altar, it means nothing. But if anyone swears by the gift on it, he is bound by his oath. You blind men, which is greater, the gift or the altar that makes the gift sacred? Therefore, he who swears by the altar swears by it and by everything on it. And he who swears by the temple swears by it and by the one who dwells in it. And he who swears by heaven swears by God's throne and by the one who sits on it. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You give a tenth of your spices, mint, dill, and cumin, but you've neglected the more important matters of the law, justice, mercy, and faithfulness. You should have practiced the latter without neglecting the former. You blind guides! You strain out a gnat, but swallow a camel. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You clean the outside of the cup and dish, but inside they are full of greed and self-indulgence. Blind Pharisee! First clean the inside of the cup and dish, and then the outside also will be clean. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You are like whitewashed tombs, which look beautiful on the outside, but on the inside are full of dead men's bones and everything unclean. In the same way, on the outside, you appear to people as righteous, but on the inside, you're full of hypocrisy and wickedness. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You build tombs for the prophets and decorate the graves of the righteous. And you say, if we lived in the days of our forefathers, we would not have taken part with them in shedding the blood of the prophets. So you testify against yourselves that you are the descendants of those who murdered the prophets. Fill up then the measure of the sin of your forefathers, you snakes, you brood of vipers. How will you escape being condemned to hell? Therefore, I'm sending you prophets and wise men and teachers. Some of them you will kill and crucify. Others you will flog in your synagogues and pursue from town to town. And so upon you will come all the righteous blood that has been shed on earth, from the blood of righteous Abel to the blood of Zechariah, son of Barachiah, whom you murdered between the temple and the altar. I tell you the truth. All this will come upon this generation. O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, you who kill the prophets and stone those sent to you, how often I've longed to gather your children together as a hen gathers her chicks under her wings, but you were not willing. Look, your house is left to you desolate, for I tell you, you will not see me again until you say, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Amen. Now, Satan cannot stop true believers becoming true believers. But he does have a plan B. And his plan B is to stop us enjoying being true believers and to stop us being effective as true believers. And what is that plan? Well, it's exposed in Matthew chapter 23. What he wants for us, and perhaps this is the main thing more than anything else that will destroy real Christianity, is to release the Pharisaical, hypocritical, man-centered, legalistic, self-righteous religion that is in us all, and given half a chance, even as true believers. Remember now, he's addressing the crowds and his disciples at this point. Given half a chance, these tendencies will rise up, take over, and they will destroy us. So in the strongest possible terms, very much like the Old Testament prophets, remember how they used to pronounce woes and judgment and curses on the false religion of Israel in the Old Testament? Well, Jesus is doing that now. He's pronouncing woes 7 times on this kind of false religion. Let me quickly summarize these 7 woes. Verse 13. This kind of false religion is so devastating, so appalling, so destructive, it shuts the door to heaven for people, verse 13. And verse 15, it opens the door to hell. It prepares people. It makes them more fitting for hell, this kind of religion. Verses 16 to 22, it's so empty. And that's seen in the words, and particularly the oaths, the hypocritical, nonsensical, empty religious language that comes out of the mouths of these people. Verses 23 to 24, it sort of majors on the minors. It's obsessed with things that don't ultimately matter. And it neglects the things that really do: justice, mercy, faithfulness. Verses 25 and 27, there are 2 woes here, making much the same point. Jesus exposes the externalism of this kind of religion. It's all about the image. It's all about looking good before men. But inside and in the sight of God, the hearts of such people are foul and filthy And then verses 29 to 36. This hypocrisy is not only unpleasant, it's not only offensive, it's not only kind of stinks in our nostrils and in the nostrils of God, it is literally murderous, killing the prophets and ultimately Jesus himself. Jesus is talking here about the people who are regarded as the most religious people in the world in their day. And he's speaking about the leaders of this religion. They don't practice what they preach, verse 3. Again and again, they are called blind guides. Verse 16. Verse 24 and verse 33 has got to be one of the most devastating, terrifying condemnations anywhere in the Bible. And by the way, these words coming right out of Jesus's mouth. Verse 33, you snakes, you brood of vipers, how will you escape being condemned to hell? Now, we'll make many mistakes as true believers. Of course we will. But whatever mistakes we make in our Christian lives, you make sure that you never, never, never feed and encourage the Pharisee within us all. Rather, in two little notes, beautiful notes or little shafts of light shining into this horrible darkness, rather, Christ calls us to be, verse 11, humble servants. And verse 37, full of compassion, like him.